Today on Public Eye News, a Chippewa County man is sentenced after being charged with second-degree murder, and the state issues new road weight restrictions.
I'll lead you through today's sports breakdown, and later, Teddy Morey has your weather forecast where he'll take you through a look at the conditions the rest of the week and heading into the weekend. I'm Daniel Lunard.
And I'm Elijah Anger, and this is Public Eye News. A Chippewa County resident has been sentenced to a minimum of 60 years after being charged with second-degree murder. The conviction comes after the defendant, Tanner Dunbar Harrison, was involved in a reckless driving police pursuit that resulted in the death of Katie Robinson in 2021. Robinson was driving home from work when Harrison crashed into the back of her vehicle during a high-speed chase that began in Chippewa County and ended in Sault Ste. Marie. Harrison's trial was first delayed for 2 years after sustained injuries made him unfit for trial. Finally, sentencing took place after 5, and Harrison is eligible for parole after 25 years. UW Green Bay researchers have been taking a look at Brown and Outagamie counties where agricultural runoff treatment systems, or ARTSs, have been installed to aid in the reduction of contamination to local waterways. The ARTSs were developed as a natural phosphorus filter for farmlands with the aid of a grant from the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative in 2015. These systems have proven cost-effective through the results of a 6-year study in agriculture, ecosystems, and environment that the UW school published. The sites will provide hands-on learning for students who want to help farmers further reduce phosphorus levels when UW Green Bay hosts the AG Water Nexus Seminar and AG Water Nexus Field Experience in the fall.
Little Traverse Bay bands of Ottawa Indians have been awarded $200,000 to support a feasibility project of restocking Bear River's lake whitefish to assist with declining population. This funding is part of a larger effort by the U.S. Fishes and Wildlife Services, which provided over $6.6 million to federally recognize Native American and Alaskan Native tribes. The awards are going towards benefiting the fish and wildlife resources and habitat conservations of 35 tribes over 15 states, including Little Traverse Bay. Over 250 faculty and higher education leaders from throughout the state gathered at Delta College for a 2-day-long conference to discuss ways to ease the stress that comes with transferring between collegiate institutions. This workshop is working towards increasing degree completion through easing credit transfer process, greater programs, exploration, and increasing communication. This is supported by the Michigan Department of Lifelong Education Advancement and prolonging larger goal of improving birth to post-secondary education. Now on to the war in Iran. The president has now extended his deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz by 10 more days. It happened just minutes after the closure of the trading Thursday, where all 3 major stock markets suffered big losses. Ed O'Keefe is at the White House.
They want to make a deal.
Insisting Iran is, quote, begging to bring an end to the war.
I say they're lousy fighters, but they're great negotiators.
President Trump rejected reports he's the one desperate to make a deal.
I'm the opposite of desperate. I don't care.
The president said he's postponing attacks on Iran's infrastructure for 10 days at Iran's request.
They asked for 7. You're going to say, oh, Trump's a terrible negotiator. They asked for 7. And I said, I'm going to give you 10.
But with Iran denying any direct talks and mocking the U.S. as negotiating with yourself, Trump explained how he's confident progress is being made.
Can I reveal the present?
For the first time, he revealed that big, expensive gift from Iran was 10 oil tankers allowed through the Strait of Hormuz.
I said, well, I guess we're dealing with the right people.
He says the move proves the people he's talking to have power to control the key shipping corridor Iran has effectively closed off for almost a month. Oil tanker traffic is down 90 to 95% since before the war. Economists now expect U.S. inflation to jump to more than 4% this year because of the conflict. Mortgage rates moved higher for the 4th straight week, while mortgage applications are down. Global oil prices are up more than 40%, and the American cost of gas is up by almost $1 per gallon in the last month. And amid all that economic trouble, the president says he's not yet ready to pull back the federal gas tax, but says it is an option he has if necessary. Ed O'Keefe, CBS News, the White House.
Now don't touch that dial. Danny Lunard has your sports breakdown when we come back.
Coming up this week on High School Bowl, we enter even more rarefied air. We are now in our quarterfinals, our Erudite 8. In our first quarterfinal matchup, Negaunee goes up against Gladstone. Hi, I'm Jim Koski, and then we wrap up our second quarterfinal match with an Eastern UP.
Welcome back. Once again, I'm Daniel Luder, and I'll be taking you through today's sports recap. Kicking off in Chicago with day 2 of the Sweet 16. Tonight, the Michigan Wolverines are taking on Alabama. Alabama is coming into this game after beating Texas Tech 90-65 last weekend, and for Michigan, they beat St. Louis 95-72 last weekend. A key for Michigan is they are 12-1 in non-conference play, and they are sitting at 26-0 in games decided by 10 or more. The winner of this game will take on the winner of the Tennessee versus Iowa State game that's on later tonight in the Elite 8. And scheduled tip-off at 9:45 p.m. tonight, the Michigan State Spartans will be taking on the UConn Huskies. UConn is back in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2024 where they beat Purdue in the national championship. On the other hand, Michigan State is looking to go back to the Elite 8 and repeat like they did last year. The key for both teams is they're both 7-3 in their last 10 games. For the Huskies, they are scoring 72.9 points per game and having 34.1 rebounds. And for the Spartans, they are shooting 79.6 points per game and have 32.5 rebounds. The winner of the game will take on the winner of the St. John's versus Duke game. That will tip off later tonight. And if March Madness didn't prove enough entertainment, it was opening day yesterday for the Detroit Tigers, where they won 8-2 over the San Diego Padres. They came out swinging in the top of the first and did not look back, scoring 4 runs. The opening day starting pitcher was Tara Skubal, who dominated 6 innings and had 6 strikeouts, allowing 3 runs and 1 hit. The Tigers are back in San Diego tonight. Well, the game will begin at 9:40 p.m. That's all I have for sports. Now back to the desk.
Thank you, Danny, for that sports recap. Over 130 care kits filled with essential items were delivered to Michigan veterans who are homeless, courtesy of the Gleaner Life Insurance Society's Capital Arbor in partnership with the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency. These kits can include travel-size soap and shampoo, toiletry items, feminine hygiene products, clothing, first aid supplies, blankets, and bags or backpacks. While these kits give essential supplies to those who need them, they also serve as a powerful message to Michigan veterans that the communities they serve to protect do care about them and want to help. In other news, the Michigan Department of Transportation is changing its spring weight restriction areas in an annual attempt to protect roads from falling into disrepair or suffering major damages. Starting 6 a.m. Monday, March 30th, the only routes that the state will have weight restrictions on will be north of the US 10/M25 line, including the Upper Peninsula and Mackinac Island. Country road commissions and city public work departments may place their own seasonal weight restrictions and will usually, but not always, fall in line with state highway weight restrictions. Signs are traditionally posted to indicate routes that have a weight restriction in effect. For more information regarding the weight restriction areas, visit www.michigan.gov/truckers and look under restrictions. And new details of another alarming moment in the sky. A commercial jet came close to an Army helicopter in California. Chris Van Cleve has the story.
That was not good.
That's air traffic controllers at John Wayne Airport outside Los Angeles reacting to a potential close call between a California Air National Guard Black Hawk helicopter and a United Airlines flight on final approach to land. Flight 589 with 168 aboard was coming from San Francisco Tuesday night.
We had a resolution advisory for United 589 RA.
The apparent close call comes after the FAA tightened rules for helicopters operating around airports just last week, and in the wake of last year's deadly mid-air collision between a Black Hawk helicopter and a regional jet. And just like that incident, Tuesday's close call involved a Black Hawk conducting a routine nighttime training mission. But this time, controllers and the pilots were tracking the chopper when the 737's collision avoidance system alerted, telling the pilots to stop their descent and level off. Preliminary flight data has the two aircraft about 525 feet apart vertically and approximately 1,400 feet laterally, a little over a quarter of a mile at their closest point.
This is closer than we would like for airplanes and helicopters to be. However, it does show that the system worked as intended in light of the fact that something was not right.
The California Air Guard is pledging a thorough review. The FAA is investigating all of this happening as lawmakers in Washington are still considering potential aviation safety reforms stemming from that deadly midair collision last year. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Phoenix.
After this short break, Teddy Mori will have your weather forecast for the next few days. Stay tuned.
I'm a young person who found Martha Graham and fell in love with it.
Dancing appears glamorous, easy, but the path is not easier than any other.
Martha Graham, a woman of great mystery and talent.
To be a Graham dancer is a beautiful thing.
Friday night at 9, WNMU TV. Welcome back to Public Eye News. I'm Teddy Mori here with your Public Eye weather forecast. Taking a look at the NMU roof cam. It was snowing a little bit earlier, but now it's not any longer, but it will probably start snowing again in not too much longer from now. Taking a look at our conditions across the Upper Peninsula, as you can see, there's a lot of snow up in this region and very cloudy over here with only really Sault Ste. Marie having a little bit of sun going on, with the degrees being 24 degrees up in Houghton, 22 degrees in Ironwood, and both in Iron Mountain and Menominee, it is 29 degrees. It is 28 in Escanaba, and over in Manistee, it is 27 degrees, 22 degrees in Sault Ste. Marie, and back in Marquette, it is 27 degrees. Taking a closer look at that, it is light snow here in Marquette with winds coming from the north at 10 to 15 miles per hour, and our barometric pressure is 30.32 inches and rising. Taking a look into tonight, it's going to be mostly cloudy, but with a good chance of some more snow with a low of 17 degrees and winds coming from the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour, and our moon phase is going to be a waxing crescent. Taking a look into tomorrow and the weekend, it's going to be partly sunny on Saturday with a high of 35 degrees and a low of 29 with winds coming from the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And looking further into our week, it's going to get a little bit more warm with it being partially sunny in both Sunday and Monday, with Sunday having a nice, somewhat warm 43 degrees high and a low of 28 degrees. Monday, a high of 39 degrees and a low of 31 degrees. But it is going to possibly rain on Tuesday with a high of 43 degrees and a low of 32 degrees. That's all I have for your weather today. Back to the desk with Elijah and Danny.
Thank you so much for that weather report, Teddy. It's been a beautiful day. It's snowing a little more, which I'm a fan of because I like skiing, but
It has been a beautiful spring day, but I hear you have one more story for us.
I do. The city of Marquette has extended the parking ban until April 15th, so it's extended by 2 more weeks. So no parking on the streets from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. or 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. Due to the increased snowfall this year. There is simply not enough room to safely plow the snow away. But yeah, so.
Well, that is kind of unfortunate, but we have had a ton of snow this year, so it does make sense that the parking ban has been extended. But that is all the time that we have today at Public Eye News. I'm Elijah Anger.
I'm Daniel Leonard.
And we'll catch you next time.